Hi everyone, or as we say in Bavaria, Servus. So I was actually planning to introduce myself, but thanks for the introduction. Well, I'm currently in a tiny beach house in Egypt, although I'm representing the Technical University in Munich in Germany. I'm actually from Egypt and currently in Egypt. So I traveled to Germany to pursue my bachelor degree in computer science, and I found my passion in software engineering, became a teaching assistant, and also developed Artemis as part of my bachelor thesis. So actually the COVID semester was my last semester in my bachelor degree. Imagine being a graduate in these circumstances. Wasn't nice, but I will tell you more about it. I was also representing my faculty as a student representative. So let me share my story and take you back with me to February. So February is when the semester ended, the winter semester, and most of the students finished their exams and returned back home. TOEM has a lot of international students. In fact, 30% of the students at TOEM are international students. So most of them went back home to their families and traveled abroad. This was a problem because then March came, and this is when things got real and the borders got closed and everything got locked down because of Corona. And students were not able to come back to Germany, at least international students. For me, it was not a big of an issue because I stayed in Germany because I was still writing my thesis. But for many other students, it was not possible to come back to continue their studies. And the university also got closed by the government as there was lockdown. So we had to go and find a virtual solutions. But thank God we had a month to plan. Currently, March was semester break, and the next semester would start in April. So we had 1 month to plan ahead. So the first question was, okay, we can't use the same methods and tools we used to use because now the semester has to be virtual. So the first thing we thought about was the tools. How can students have a lecture? So there are two options. Either the professors upload pre-recorded lectures or we have live streamed lectures. In fact, of course, I tutored my professor. He used to go to the university alone, stand in an empty lecture hall and hold his lecture. And it was live streamed, but imagine like standing there in an empty lecture hall with 1,000 empty seats in front of you was not a good experience. And me and 3 other instructors were sitting there in this empty lecture hall, answering the students' questions via Slack. So it was pretty interesting. But this professor made it interactive by adding in-class or in-lecture exercises and live quizzes by using Artemis, which I will introduce later. Another thing was, okay, what tool should we use so that the students communicate with their tutors and their teaching assistants? So there was the option of an instant messenger, such as Slack, Zulip, or Rocket Chat, or platforms like Moodle and Piazza, and for sure, conference calls via Zoom or Big Blue Button. Here, the student council had a lot of discussions because in Germany, people are aware of their data security and data privacy, and they don't just use any tool. The tool must be secure, and you must know where your data comes from and goes. So we mostly preferred self-hosted conference call tools such as Big Blue Button and also Rocket Chat for instant messenger. But we also value the freedom for professors to form and shape the way they want to teach. So it was up to the professor to choose the tools, and this was nice because professors got really creative with the way they shaped their virtual semester. But maybe it was a bit of a hustle for the students to download all these different tools. So imagine like taking part in 5 courses, and each course uses a different set of tools. You have to download all of them. So you have to have a laptop with good memory then. Another thing was, how can students hand in their work? So again, the traditional way was Moodle, but we used this in-house solution, Artemis, which again, I will introduce in just a minute. And then April came. We were prepared, kind of. Most of us were prepared, at least. We had 1 month to prepare. university was still closed, no access for students. Later in May, the library opened, but also for each student had one time slot a day, and it was a short time slot, so it was not possible to be on campus as regular as we used to. Because professors have the freedom to shape the way they want to teach, we had a wide spectrum of different methods. So we had this extreme of professors just uploading all the materials from last year again at once. And we had other professors regularly hosting tutor sessions, regularly hosting live lectures, etc. So we had a wide spectrum. And the course I taught was a course where 2,000 students took part in. So it's one of the biggest course at the university, and with such huge number, there is a challenge. So like, how can we manage all these students? So thank God we had a lot of teaching assistants to help us. There were 50 teaching assistants, and we had synchronous tutor sessions each week live. So this was also nice. We made sure that we have the time slots throughout the day so that students living in different time zones would also be able to participate. And the lectures were live. However, we kept the recording for 24 hours so that, again, students in different time zones could participate. We didn't keep the recordings for a longer period of time because we wanted the lecture to be interactive. We wanted students to put the extra effort and actually join the lecture live so that the lecture could be interactive. And we added these in lecture live quizzes and in lecture exercises. Students who participated in them were able to get a bonus. So if they pass their exam, they get a bonus grade on it. Then the semester continued. Each professor used their method, and things were going well until July. And this is when the semester was approaching its end, and we had to find the master plan for the exams, which is also, again, a very hot topic. We had to change the examination regulations at ZOOMe. And this was not an easy step because, if you know a stereotype about Germany, it's the bureaucracy. So changing the regulations was actually really hard, but we managed to change the regulations and we managed to allow virtual exams. And there was two options, either to have proctored exams or unproctored exams. So proctored exams is where you have a supervision, someone looking over your shoulders and seeing if you cheat or not. And proctored is the opposite, obviously. Coming to proctored exams, there was the tool Proctorio, which some professors used, and the license was bought by the university. Again, here there was huge discussions about the data privacy, and we did some small movements so that professors who use Proctorio also give students another alternative in case students didn't want to use Proctorio, because Proctorio just is a tool where you have to film your entire house, and this might interfere with your privacy. There was also an option to have oral exams via a conference call, either on Zoom or Big Blue Button, or to have a normal exam where it's proctored via the conference call. There was also the normal option of having the exam on campus. However, here we had to be very strict and follow the rules, keeping the distance so that our students are not under any risk. So we have, as I said, huge courses with over 1,000 participants. So how can we have them all on campus? This was not possible because we have a limited number of lecture halls, and each lecture hall only took, I think, 25% of its capacity because we had to measure the distance, etc. So lecture hall that usually takes 1,000 students was only able to take about 60. So we had to come with an innovative idea, and what a more Bavarian idea than having the exam in beer tents. So this is what we did. The university bought some beer tents, and the exams were in them. They were bigger than lecture halls, and they got the extra space. This is actually a picture I took from my last exam in my bachelor degree. Inside the beer tent where I wrote my last exam, you can see here there is the distance and everyone's wearing their face mask, and all the measurements were taken for safety of the students. So the other option was to have an unproctored exam. By the university regulation, this was called graded online exercise and not exam, because an unproctored exam can be called exam. So we had to call it GOE, graded online exercise. And here again, you could do it on Moodle, just upload your submission. Or you could be more innovative, and this is what we did. We came up with 2 ideas on how can we do unproctored exam, but still try to prevent students from cheating and prevent it as much as we can. So we don't proctor them via camera, so no one is watching them, but still we try to randomize the exercises. We try to have a timed slot, so students only have 2 hours to take part in this graded online exercise. Both ZOOMe exam and Artemis were solutions that already existed, and they got further developed during the pandemic. So ZOOMe exam was actually used for scanning exams. So at ZOOMe, you have the possibility to recheck the correction and the grading of your exam, so that you check that the person who corrected your exam didn't do any mistakes. So you have the right to do that, but it's a hustle. You have to go to the university and get a scan of your exam and see it on campus. So ZOOMe exam was a solution so that you can do this at home. You basically get a scan from your exam, and on the left side, the person correcting your exam just does a cross here, and the scanner automatically knows the cross, calculates the grade you have, and you can see it from home. So ZOOMe exam was first developed so that you don't only have the correction of your exam online, you also can participate in the exam online via working on the exam on your tablet, or you can print out the exam, work on it pencil paper as the traditional way, take a picture of it and upload it, or the online editor mode. The other tool I participated in as part of my bachelor thesis was Artemis. And if I have time, I would like to show you now a small demo of Artemis. So I created an online exam already for you, and I'm signed in now as a student. So if I go to my course and then to exams, I see here this demo exam I can participate in. I have to confirm that I'm the one actually taking part in the exam by writing in my name. And we have IP tracking. So if students try to log in with different accounts, we can track that. And if students open the exam in different tabs, also we can track that, so that we prevent cheating a bit. And here I have for you 4 exercises to demonstrate the different exercises we have in Artemis. So this is the first question in the exam I created for this demo. It's a quiz, multiple choice, but we can also have drag and drop questions, etc. So let me just answer this question. This is the wrong answer, actually. Artemis is the correct answer. And then I can navigate through the exercises here. There's a text exercise where I can just write text input. And then I have a UML modeling exercises where I can draw different kinds of models is possible. This is an activity diagram, but other types of diagrams are possible too. And last but not least is programming exercise, which is really good because we computer science students used to have programming exercises in the exam, and we used to write code on paper. And when writing code on paper, you don't know if you have syntax errors, you don't know if your code will compile, if your code will work or not. So this is actually something great done by the pandemic, that we are now able to take part in programming exercises as we would do it when we graduate at work. So on your computer, you can open here the code and just start coding there. You'll get the syntax errors, etc. And on the right side, you have the problem statement. So if I answered the question, well, I have here some sort of a to-do list. So this would turn green, and I will have here a check mark if I answered the question correctly. So another good thing here is that these exercises are graded automatically. There is no need for extra man and woman power, and in courses with 2,000 students, this is needed. So let me hand in my submission early because we don't have the time. And I will show you one last cool thing about Artemis. I just mentioned the assessment is automatically for programming exercises, It's also the case for quiz exercises. And for modeling and text exercises, we have a semi-automatic algorithm. This is like a short preview of my submitted exam. I can also export it if I want to. And let me show you how the assessment works for text and modeling exercises. So the semi-automatic algorithm uses machine learning. So if 10 tutors assessed about 10 submissions, the algorithm will learn from their assessment. So if 5 tutors graded the same component the same way, the algorithm will learn from it and will apply this assessment for other submissions, which is great. If you have a huge number of assessments, this takes a big of effort from the tutors. But we also value personalized feedback. So there is an option for the tutors to preview the automatic assessment and edit it so that it's more personalized if this is necessary. But usually it's not necessary, and usually it's even better if they don't, because then the assessment is consistent, and by consistent, it's also fair. So let me maybe show you a small demo. On the right side, I have the grading instructions. So it's also a nice thing here that I can drag and drop the grading instructions. I don't have to type in the feedback. This feedback, well done, is already here because I dragged and dropped it. And I can assess the different components, which is also really nice. And if I do this for like 5 submissions, the algorithm will learn from it and it will apply it on the different other submissions. For text exercises, it's also very similar. Yeah, internet connection is really slow. So this is not a really good example, but we also have an algorithm that divides big text in components that are solving the different subtasks. So this is also saves a lot of effort for the tutors, but I think we have to proceed. And I have one more slide for you, which is our vision for the next semester. So currently, there is no lockdown anymore. However, the university is still closed. This will change next semester. So the restrictions are becoming less and less strict every day. So now 200 students are able to be on campus in a lecture hall, and up to 30 students can be together in a practical course, which is now currently very good, but it can change every day. Like today it's 200, who knows what tomorrow will be. Maybe will be less, maybe will be more. It depends on the number of infected people, but we have a hybrid concept. So not all lectures or all courses will be on campus. Some will be on campus, some will be virtual. And we give freshman students the priority because it's important for freshman students to get to know their university, get to know their campus, and to get to know each other. So because we have a limited number of lecture halls, freshman students will get the priority and other students will have online lectures if there is no more lecture halls or empty lecture halls. There is also orientation week for freshman students. So we also plan to keep this so that freshman students get to know their campus. Will also be hybrid. So info events, for example, will be online because the huge number of participants, but something like a campus tour will be held on campus with smaller number of students, so that no one is on the risk, their health is not on the risk. And that was it. I hope it was not long. And if you have any more questions, feel free.